Hold on. It's hard to... That doesn't look like what the ship is doing. That was a sentence of all time.
All right, if you're just tuning in,
Dan,
we are about 30 minutes in.
Dan, tell me everything's going to be okay.
And the ship is on its suborbital trajectory. As you can see in some of the views and from some of the telemetry, we are in a little bit of a spin. We did spring a leak in some of the fuel tank systems inside of Starship, which a lot of those are used for your attitude control. And so at this point, we've essentially lost our attitude control with Starship. We are still on a path toward re-entry. We are suborbital, so no matter what, we are going to enter. However, this lowers the
is going to get
chances for
spicy.
it to be a controlled re-entry. So if you think back to Flight 3, when we had something similar happen, just the end symptom of a loss of attitude control, we were in a roll by the time we hit re-entry. So we are going to re-enter. We should hopefully still have views. The Starlink satellites are pretty robust to still maintaining contact. We've got 4 of those terminals on the vehicle, and they're pretty robust to maintaining contact, even when we are in a spin, essentially.
Guys, it's very possible that if Starship survives getting to a certain point during re-entry where the atmosphere is enough to cause a perturbing force to overpower the moment of that fuel leak, that it could make it, albeit off trajectory. It's possible. We'll see. It does not look like it's boding very well. It looks like the ship is flying like this.
Our on-orbit objectives for today, where we were hoping to do the PES deploy and relight an engine, and then really importantly get into that controlled entry to really put the heat shield through the ringer. Nonetheless, Starship marching forward towards that re-entry over the Indian Ocean, so we'll continue to hang with it and give you any updates as things continue to change.
Gonna take heat long enough to get there. Yep. I mean, the other thing you got to think about is the fuel's eventually gonna run out if you're leaking. Yeah, it was leaking, dudes. Yeah, it absolutely was. Didn't catch on fire though, so that definitely bodes well for Block 2. What's with the color? That's, I think that's all the fuel leaking out. I think it leaked a bunch of fuel, and it's just that cloud is just going with the ship, guys. Don't worry, by the time the sun comes up and once we get it hard into entry, descent, and landing, it will, it'll burn off. Could the leak be coming from the header tank? Judging by what we saw on the interior payload bay cameras, I don't think so. It's definitely down the bottom of the vehicle. Danzu! Stop! Yeah, I know. Somebody just time warped so it stopped. Hit F9! This is making you dizzy. LS, look right there. Just focus on this position. Don't try to look at the back. Just focus right there. I saw some red glow just after Seco 1. Yeah, engines get hot. I saw a meme that Block 2 is repeating the history of Block 1. Yeah, it's right. I have a KSP question. I know that you use a joystick. What are your settings? And do you have a problem with SAS where it doesn't work? No, Wartang, I don't usually have problems. I had to custom bind the controls to it, dude. I'm not even sure if Kerbal will understand what it's doing anymore. I've been using the same settings file in Kerbal for a long time. Booster 10 also rutted at landing. Yep. In the future, when this rocket is successfully ejecting those things from the inside, what does that do? Well, those are Starlink satellites. Those are a newer version of Starlink satellites. And that newer version of Starlink satellites are basically provide. Starlink satellites right now are basically providing us with this view. Now, it's not the engine, but the ship side. It went red hot. Super Wajo, 40-month resub. That's the outside of the payload bay door that didn't open. That is all the leaked fuel that's flying with the thing, guys. It creates a very trippy thing going on here.
All right, so 36 minutes, 15 seconds into today's flight tests. You're seeing some flat movement here on the ship. If you've been following along, we have essentially lost attitude control on the ship at this point. It is suborbital, so it's still headed to the exact same trajectory as before. We were not able to get that payload door open and deploy those nose cones. We've been dealing with some leaks on the ship. This is also what led to that loss of attitude control. So at this point, we are kind of in a spin, and we are also going to be skipping that Raptor relight. If you've followed through the history of Starship, something similar happened, different cause, but same symptom back on Flight 3, where we weren't able to maintain attitude control in orbit. And so we're going to skip the relight of that Raptor engine while we're in space. We are going to still proceed with entry, but as we are not able to control the attitude of the ship, as we get into entry, it will enter in whatever orientation it is in at the time, which does not bode well for the ship's heat shield, as we're not going to be essentially aligned the way that we want to do for reentry. So it is definitely.
I don't think they
coming
were
down.
leaking fuel into
It
the
is
payload bay,
definitely heading
David.
to the Indian Ocean.
It would have gotten more spicy
but
in there.
our chances of making it all the way down are pretty slim. So we'll still get as much data as we can. We're
Come
still
on,
getting
baby.
live
Come on,
telemetry
prove the
live
haters
views
wrong.
from
Let's go.
Starlink
Let's
the
get through
entire
reentry.
time. And we'll continue to stick with ship as it continues on. We are about 10 minutes away or so until we start getting.
What's up with the reddish
into
glow?
entry.
That's just all the fuel that it
The
leaked
light
out
will
that's
start to
flying
pick
with
up
it, guys.
as we cross the Indian Ocean, and we'll start to see a little bit more daylight, and we'll, as always, as long as we maintain that comm link, get some plasma on the way in, and bring the
Survive!
Starship back through the
Survive!
atmosphere. So that coming up in about 10 minutes or so.
Hold on, Starship! I believe in you! This is what you mean. I know what you mean. I know that I know what you mean because I said I know what you mean. W. I know. I know. It. That's a vent line, dude. The cuttlefish and the asparagus. Yeah, but do you know what he means? Apparently, I guess not. So guys, it's not, it looks like it's spinning like crazy, dude, but it's, until I can get kind of a clock on the horizon, so to speak here, this is just flying through a cloud of its own fuel. All the stuff that it leaked out, it's not like if you leak the fuel when you're in space that you're going to leave a trail across the sky. No, in space, there's nothing to perturb the vented fuel. Right now, Starship is just in a cloud of its own vented fuel. Yeah, it's just in a big cloud of its own vented fuel. LOX, if I had to guess, judging by the vents that we saw a little bit earlier. I don't think it's necessarily like spinning at the rate that this suggests here. I think it's a slower spin. Yeah, it's in its own fart. Correct. Trust me, once we start getting back down into the atmosphere here, which should be happening momentarily, you'll see all this stuff kind of burn off. In fact, you're starting to see it right now. See how the direction of the gas has changed? And here's what I'm saying, guys. The rate of spin that rate that it picked up, that movement that it picked up did not look nearly as bad on the telemetry indicator, and we did know that telemetry was good. It might be enough. The flaps might be enough to compensate. Without RCS, though, this is going to be a little bit difficult to control. But the flaps might be enough. It's close. You could use some other type of vent system to write the rate, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Starship has the systems to do that. You linked the same thing again, W. Thank you. Oh, nice, Dish. You get to enjoy the fart seats. Oh, yeah, nice, man. It's basically down to timing, guys, because the things seem to be doing this, right? If it gets entry interface at the right time with the right attitude, it could make it. I ain't giving up hope, but you see, yeah, most of that gas is burning off now in the atmosphere. Last. I'm through doing lasts right now. I would like to see this. You can see the leak at the bottom. Most likely. Come on, baby. Come on, make it. You can do it. You're blocking the attitude counter. Can we get a clock on the horizon here? We're starting to get daylight. Oh boy. Yeah, the way that gas is flowing is not... I need to see what engine this is, because it... Oh my goodness, this is awesome, dude. What a great... Oh.
All right, so we are 42 minutes and change into today's flight test. You're seeing...
Come on, baby.
The light show start as Starship is getting
closer
to its reentry. If you're just tuning in,
that's
we were
badass,
able to successfully
man.
make it to orbit. Run into a couple of issues as we've coasted to our entry point over the Indian Ocean. At this point, we had lost attitude control of the ship and entered into a spin. The team made the call to do what's called passivate the vehicle, so we're essentially venting all of the remaining
there's parts of it coming off.
And it's going to make an uncontrolled reentry. Important to note, this is a contingency that is planned for, and we clear the zones in the Indian Ocean where these entries could take place. So we're not going to come down exactly where we would have had nothing happened, but we do clear.
Numbers are still updating.
Tremendous amount.
Keep an eye on the numbers
space out in the Indian Ocean. In the event that we run into this,
come on, make it, baby.
We understand that there are always risks. Essentially,
if it can get through peak heating. You might get to a point where there's enough air where the control surfaces could start controlling flight of the vehicle. As long as these numbers keep going, the vehicle's still intact. And the numbers are still going. Speed is starting to slow down a little bit. Peak heating doesn't necessarily mean peak dynamic pressure. Keep in mind. It's going to get a lot hotter in the upper parts of the atmosphere when it's still going fast, but the atmosphere will conversely slow it down. You're trading your kinetic energy for heat energy here.
Heat shield has never been flown before, history of space flight, and that's something that Starship still has to crack. And so we had a whole range of experiments on this one at this point, and we just started to lose some of our cameras, so it's very possible that we'll start to lose contact with Starship a lot sooner than we would have if it was a nominal reentry. So we are
70,
expecting
80
it
dyno
to break up essentially on its reentry over the Indian Ocean. So not able to do a lot of our on-orbit objectives today, but just the fact that we, got it into space was
still alive,
was
guys.
a really big moment for a lot of the
It's still
team.
alive.
Yeah, and another thing to note is that Super Heavy did fly for its second flight today. It first flew on flight 7, and it made it all the way
She's still
to
good.
our shutdown of.
The sporadic telemetry is because the vehicle's doing this, and every once in a while the Starlink antennas get realigned, so you're getting updated telemetry intermittently because the vehicle's spinning.
Plan to
See how it
fly
stopped?
back down
Now
to
it's
Earth
going
at
to
a
go
higher
again.
angle of attack, and we do expect
Or
it
that
to
may have been
stress
it.
the vehicle a
Oh
lot
no, there
more
it
than
is.
what we've seen
Hey,
previously.
hey,
So it's not
hey.
unexpected that we did lose the boost.
Give me the cameras. Come on, guys. Give me the cameras.
So we're gonna continue to hang out and see if we get any updates on ship. It does look like we might be getting some video.
Oh, make it, baby. Come on. Oh, that's so bad.
Is a view
that is so bad.
On the top
Parts of it already came off.
You're looking up
yeah, that's bad.
The payload.
Dude, how are we still getting video from this thing?
So, views are gonna.
How are we still getting
be a
video?
Bit scarce potentially,
on,
as
baby,
again we are in essentially a tumble. We had lost that attitude control. So Starlink, when it's able to connect, able to feed this down. We are at the phase where we would expect entry to start within the next minute or so. So we are entering uncontrolled, but again, we're entering into an airspace and a sea space that is cleared and monitored.
Dude, she's tanking the heat. That's badass, man.
And with the views that we are able to see, you are seeing a lot of that plasma build up. We do expect the vehicle to see about 1400 Celsius. And you can see the flap feeling that temperature there, a little bit melting away. But as we expected,
that aft flap was not happy.
Spinning of the vehicle, we are no longer controlling the attitude.
Oh,
of the vehicle.
come
So
on, you can do it.
Now at this point, in
look at deceleration now.
Is expected to see it begin to demise a little bit on its way back.
Numbers are still updating,
and so we'll stick with it.
How can you be so doom and gloom about this? This is awesome.
You reach back from the ship as it starts to make this re-entry.
That may have been it, dudes.
Yeah. So it's re-entering actively right now. And again, we did do what's called passivation. So you
that may have been it.
All of your excess propellant overboard before you hit the atmosphere.
That's that was it.
Measure we can take on the
that
ship
was it.
While
She's
you
dead,
still
Jim.
Have contact with it. So that was done. It's now coming down in the predetermined hazard
That's
area
it.
that was cleared ahead of flight. Not controlled, so we're not going to get all of that reentry data that we're still really looking forward to. This is kind of a new generation of ship. It has different flaps, improved heat shield, a whole lot of things that we're really trying to really put through the ringer.
Became a spicy meatball.
Learn before we get to kind of the next step that we're hoping for, which is going to be that ship going orbital and eventually coming back here for a catch. So getting through one of these fully is going to be really important. It's not going to be today,
open.
But we are just going to stick with the ship, see what else we can learn as it makes its way through the atmosphere and brings an end to
I blame you. What did I do now?
So we'll stick with it.
This mission was a failure in your book. Views iterative prototyping. Ship fails. Calls it a failure. Nice, Baron. Hey, go back to NASA, okay? You washed your hat. I did not wash my hat. Oh, sorry. Move the mouse. Don't tell me what to do. Man, that sucks, dude. But hey, that's... Guys, like I said, new ship, new design. You're basically taking a step back for improvements in the future. So what? Figure out what failed. Launch it again. Needed to play the Pokemon theme song. That was the true problem here. It got further with the SpaceX shirt, dude. One flight 10.
If you're just now joining us, we did have an on-time liftoff from Starbase Texas at 6:30 p.m. Central Time of the Flight 9 vehicle. We did have some incredibly stressing objectives today. The Super Heavy booster flew for its second flight. It first flew on Flight 9 and made its way to take ship all the way up to stage separation, doing its second flight ever, which is pretty incredible. We did lose the booster on the way back down, as we did fly it back down at a higher angle of attack. So as expected, we did have it demise on the way back down.
Yeah, we were able to get all the way to that landing burn, though. So we made it through that higher angle of attack. So a lot of great data that's going to help us improve those future booster flights.
Yeah, we did do the directional flip, and it worked.
Yep.
It was actually
Flipped
a
in the
great
right
view
direction.
that we saw. And then ship continued, 6 healthy Raptor engines in the
Yeah, Baron, way to move the damn goalpost. Well, it didn't do this, and it didn't do this, and it didn't do this. An hour ago, it was, oh, if it makes it into Seco, it's a success. Don't give me that horse crap, dude. It's iterative design. It's a new ship. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, we ran into a couple of issues once ship got
Come
there,
on,
but
man.
I can tell
When
you
the fuel
it
leak,
was
did
a
the fuel leak,
pretty
did the fuel leak?
crazy
They'll figure it
moment
out,
for
dude.
a lot of the people that were standing
Damn.
there for ship to make it there. It's been a couple of flights, but it was really exciting to see. Ran into some issues on orbit. We weren't able to deploy
Dang
the
it, Nova.
Starlinks. We eventually lost attitude control, dealing with some propellant links inside of the ship. And we did lose attitude control. And just to confirm, we did lose contact with the ship officially a couple of minutes ago. So that brings an end to the 9th flight test. So still a lot of work to do, but really big moment. Chris, how's everybody doing over there in Hawthorne? What's the vibes, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a test program, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn, and that was definitely the vibe and the atmosphere here at Hawthorne. Would have been great to see ship get all the way through its objectives today, but with all of that data that came down through the Starlink system, we're definitely going to learn, and we're definitely going to fix that and push forward. Also, great to see the responsible engineers here in Mission Control talking with the flight control teams in Starbase. We talked about how it's great having that expert knowledge on console to be able to go to at a moment's notice, and that really helped us make the right decisions in orbit today when we decided to passivate the vehicle. So we will be here looking forward to Flight 10 and some success on future flights.
Yeah, Dish, for real.
All right. Well, obviously, congratulations to everybody
Ballin.
that poured so much time, effort into
On to
getting
Flight
this
10,
ship,
dude.
this rocket off the pad. The last 2 months have been an absolute gauntlet for a lot of people, and we're continuing to learn more about this ship, about this rocket. We are trying to do something that is impossibly hard, and it's not always you're not going to reach it in a straight line. We've said there's going to be bumps, there's going to be turns, but seeing that ship in space today was a hell of a moment for us. So
yeah,
congratulations to every single person who put time, effort, sweat, anything into that rocket.
Yeah, this is exactly the SpaceX way. We're going to learn, iterate, and iterate over and over again until we figure it out. So